I think I'd get in more trouble selling this milk than if I was selling hard drugs.
Oh man.
We've got our butchery in town, which is open 24/7 with no staff. It's a completely automated self-service store. So we've got about 400 members. People come in and buy their meat through the checkout system, and off they go.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I am here with Jake Wolki and from Wolki Farm, and we're going to talk about his farming operation, and currently right now we're going to talk about Jersey cows. So before we get into Jersey cows, can you quickly tell me a little bit about yourself and what got you into farming?
Sure. Well, I'm not a farmer. I didn't grow up on a property, and it's not really my family's thing. We have retail stores in town and a cafe, so my family and myself own and operate a bicycle shop that has a restaurant inside of it, and we've always been into retail. But I have been on a food healing journey, so a lot of sinus issues and congestion when I was younger, a lot of skin allergies and rashes, a lot of medication, and script medication kept getting more serious, more expensive, more frequent, and symptoms kept getting worse and worse and worse. So my good wife decided that I should stop eating junk food and think about what I'm putting in my body a little more. And we went down a rabbit hole and we found healing food and saw guys on YouTube like Joel Salatin, and that got exposed to that whole world. And we were looking for the food in our local community here, and we couldn't find the food in the supermarkets. We couldn't find the food we wanted at the grocery stores, at the farmers markets. We couldn't find it anywhere. And my parents had a hobby farm in town, so I said, can I take a bit of space and chase some cows in the paddocks and put some chickens behind them and stuff? And that was in 2019. That's what got us interested. We just wanted to grow the food primarily for us, for our own health. And then it just so happens that there's a lot of other people on the same food healing journey. So all of our customers find us on that journey.
Cool. So can you tell me, what do you raise on your
Sure.
farms? And you said you have...
We got a butchery in town as well.
Yep.
So we purchased that in late 2020 because we realised that that was a massive bottleneck in the supply chain, and you know, very expensive part of the whole process. So we do beef, and we do a few different types of beef. We offer Jersey cows. We retire them and fatten them, and we offer double-aged Jersey beef. It's a bit of a play on words because we say double-aged because they're old cows, which is not normally what people are used to buying. They're used to buying young steers, and we dry age them. Don't feed them till we get them in the crush, Otto. And we dry age the meat as well. So it's double-aged Jersey beef. We offer just our normal grass-fed and finished beef. We do pasture-raised pork. We offer grass-fed lamb. And we were doing chicken. We've taken the year off from doing broilers for a few different logistical reasons. Just access is very hard at the moment. We do a few little ancillary, like we do eggs and honey and lard and a few value adds.
Awesome.
Yep. And in the butchery, we buy a little bit of wild harvest venison and things like that to put on the website.
Cool. Yep. So shall we get into the
Sure.
Jersey
Well,
cows?
these, I didn't milk them this morning because I thought you might be interested. So she'll be busting for a milking. Good girls. So generally we do it in the morning.
Yep.
But this morning was raining, and you were going to be here, and it was fine weather, so I thought I'd put it off. So we come down, I just run the generator to power my little milking machine, and this is just a tiny little version of what they use in a dairy. It's just a vacuum pump that we put on the teat, and it just sucks the milk out. Mila, the cow that we'll milk now, takes 7 minutes, and we'll get 8 litres of milk out of her. So we just walk them up the race here, put them in the crush. While they're there, we feed them a little bucket of treats. That sort of entices them to come up the race and gives them a good experience. And then after we do that in the morning, we normally turn them out to pasture and give them a bit of supplemental lucerne and stuff. You know, they need about 20 kilograms of dry matter a day because they're working so hard. So we give them a bit of substitute feed. Because they're from a dairy, they're very used to routine. You know, anything that's sort of out of the ordinary, whether it's new people or a new time for milking, it always throws them. Rightio, so we'll try to get the ones that we need now. You're coming with me, gorgeous. Come on, up, up. Come on. Good girl. Come on. See, they want... We'll work for treats. This cow that's got the surrogates couple of the bigger calves got on her teats and their teeth were more formed.
Yeah.
And they've scun a couple of her teats. This is about a week ago. And they're nearly healed, but she's still sensitive. So for these calves to feed, I have to lock her in there.
Yeah.
And then once they've fed, we've made a lard cream, like a moisturiser, and then I moisturise her teats just to help them get a bit of life back into them. Come on. This is their favourite. This is lollies for the cows and the calves. This is lucerne hay. And it's worth doing a little bit of homework when you buy. You can actually generally ask for a feed test and get like a form with how much protein and everything's in the feed. But I bought, these are just the little square blocks, we call them idiot blocks, but they're easy to handle when you don't have equipment. I bought 2 blocks from 2 different farms, and one was $33 and weighed about 15 kilos and was a lot of stalk. And then this one was $20 and it weighed over 20 kilos and it's all leaf. So a far better quality product, a lot heavier, even though they're both the same size bale. This is heavier, a lot better protein, you know, just a lot better value for money. It's worth doing a little bit of look around. Come on, darling. She doesn't like coming in because they're gonna upset your teats, aren't they? These are homemade yards from the previous owner. We've only been here since Christmas. And when we first came here, I saw these yards and I thought, oh, gonna need to replace them. They're actually brilliant. He's done a great job. There's little man doors everywhere to get in and out.
That's cool.
Rightio, well, let's get the milking going. We'll give her her treat. I'll crush her there so she can't move back on me. The best thing to clean the teats of your house cow, I think, is baby wipes. Literally made to take poo off things. So I'm not a professional. We've only had them a couple of weeks, so I'm still getting used to all this. But when I get down next to them, I just like to let them know that I'm here. They can lift that foot and bring it forward. And then we just clean their teats because the suction cups come up right over them and we don't want all this mud and poo and everything that they lay in our milk. Otto drinks all my milk. Do you want to feel her udders, how full they are?
Me?
Chilli?
Yeah, sure, I'd love to know.
Just feel that.
Yeah.
You can just feel it now, so if you feel it, and then you'll have a feel once we've milked her. Yeah, you'll feel they just deflate a bit. And I always like to feel her teats a little bit and check them because these cows can be, you know, if they're not managed right and observed and not milked frequently enough, they pick up mastitis pretty quick, which is a horrible thing. I've had it in a few of my jerseys on the farm, and I've cured it a few times without antibiotics by following the Pat Colby method. Pat Colby's written like homeopathic books. She's an Australian lady. She's deceased now. She's got one for, I think, horses, goats, cows, and maybe it's just the 3. And it was, I think it was a bit of diatomaceous earth orally, and then it was vitamin C injected, and there's a few different things a little while ago now. I had good success with that with a few cows, but you need to get on it quick. And that's where, if they're in the paddock and you don't have much to do with them, it's very hard to do. But if you're milking them every day and you feel the teats getting hard and hot, you can get onto it really quickly. Rightio. This is the loud bit. Get this Jenny going. You won't be able to hear a word I say after this. See you later. Did you fill this up with petrol? No. It might run out. So, this is where the milk comes, obviously. Yep. Into this pail. There's the suction cups, and we turn the motor on. Bit of a balancing act. You need to get the pressure to the right bar for it to hold on to the teats. Okay. The suction, but you can't have too much pressure because then it starts to work the motor too hard. So I'm still learning. Forgot to flush them. Normally we like to do a few pumps. See how good of a shot you are. Ah. Lunch. Finally. The flow there, we're going to get, I don't know, between 6 and 8 litres in about 5 or 6 minutes.
Wow.
And when the Jersey milk is setting in the fridge, it's 50% cream.
Oh, that's amazing.
Still a good flow. You can already feel it.
Oh yeah.
If you felt that one there, it's like a balloon. Right. Otto, loosen. Over here. Bring it out. So I'm just waiting. It'll keep just pulling milk out of her, but the flow will get to a point where it doesn't fill the line up, so there's no suction to deliver it in, so you're really not doing much. So once I see it stop pouring into the bucket, that's when I turn the machine off. Well, do you want to tell them anything about the cows? Do you like them? Do you like the milk? I think I'd get in more trouble selling this milk than if I was selling hard drugs.
Oh man.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this good milk. This has got a clean bucket.
Yep.
I've got a few buckets that I call never ever buckets. So you never ever use them for anything except their one purpose. So like clean water to your pigs or milk to the house. So it's a milk bucket. And if I'm ever tempted to carry some rocks or some, they want to feel, just keep it for its purpose. Otherwise you always have dirty buckets and no clean ones. Not in the bucket. Go feed it to the cows. You ready? All from one cow. Rightio. So we've sort of done a nasty thing for her because we've tricked her in. Now the calves can all drink. Like I said, her teats are sensitive at the moment, but you see how full her udder is?
Yeah.
If the milk's not getting flushed, then they're at risk of, feel that one.
No, don't. Oh wow.
So I'll let the calves have a suckle now, and we'll give her a nice reward for being so. If she didn't want to come up that ramp, there's nothing we can do to force her, unless we were going to electrocute her, which we don't use on the farm. But we'll let them have a good feed now, so we can talk about some other stuff, and then I will milk her just to drain her teats and flush them, and then I'll just throw that milk away because there'll be a bit of blood and things in it.
So can you tell me what are your top tips for someone wanting to keep a Jersey cow? I know you're new at this whole game, but
Sure.
Probably.
Well, I've had Jerseys for probably 3 years because we've been using them to breed and put through the butchery, but as a house cow, it's a bit newer for us. Look, I think you always want to treat them kind. If it's an animal that you want to handle every day, I find it easier to lure these animals than to push them. Mm-hmm. So when they're out here in the pastures of the daytime and then I call them in to come into the corral overnight or whatever, if I could run around here for 20 minutes like an idiot trying to get them in, but if I walk out with a little slab of lucerne, they'll follow me in. So just nice handling with them. You feel a bit more comfortable with those animals around. I think you need to understand that they're not a beef cow. They're not a easygoing beef cow, and because they're producing so much milk, you do need to give them a bit of extra food. Mm-hmm. Their energy requirements are quite high, so we buy in quite expensive, beautiful lucerne to help give them a bit of extra energy. We feed them pasture hay, and we're also, you cheeky monkey, hey, we are also giving them a little bit of corn silage, which is a fermented sort of whole corn plant. So it's got a little bit of the seed in it, but also all the leaves and stem.
Yeah. And
yeah, just to keep them going. There's probably a couple tips. Yep, and just keep on top. It's easier to keep an animal healthy than it is to bring a sick animal back.
Yeah. So how do you like raw Jersey cow milk compared to supermarket milk?
Oh, look, it's sensational. I'm lactose intolerant, essentially, like as the lingo goes, and have a hard time digesting store-bought milk, and which is one of the reasons why we wanted a house cow. I can drink litres of the stuff, and it's delicious. I do drink it warm when I get home. We'll filter that through a bit of cheesecloth into some glass jars. I drink it warm, but I still really like it cold. I don't know, a lot of people talk about it warm out of the cow, and I'm definitely not opposed to it, but once it's chilled in the fridge, you want to chill it to under 4 degrees within 2 hours of being milked.
Okay.
And I just think cold. So when I make my coffee in the morning on the coffee machine, I fill up the jug that you warm your milk in twice as high as what I need, because I drink half of it cold. I like it so much before I have my coffee.
Let's talk goals. What are your major goals for the next, let's say, 2 to 5 years?
Yeah, sure. Well, we've been in this for about 5 years now, and like I said earlier, all of our customers are finding us on a food healing journey. So, we feel incredibly fortunate to be able to work with and supply such passionate people, but we also feel quite, privileged and called in a way to give people the access to the food that they need for their family's health. And one of the, issues with regenerative agriculture as a market at the moment is accessibility is so hard for people. If just because it's at the farmer's market doesn't mean it's chemical-free, organic meat, and it's not in the supermarkets. And so, one of our goals is to expand our reach of where we can supply. So we're currently shipping to 3,000 postcodes, 10,000 suburbs around Australia.
Yeah.
That's the area we can cover. And we're working really hard to have better inventory, better value, faster freight, to scale the business. And something else that's an important goal, which is sort of ancillary to that, is we want our business to be defensible. So that means profitable and able to look after ourselves. So if we have a complaint, if we have a workplace accident, if we have one of the bureaucratic legislation groups come after us, a lot of the things that we do people don't like. A lot of the industry doesn't like chickens outside. They blame us for the influenzas. The pig industry doesn't like pigs outside, so we've always got a target on our back. And I really believe that we need to reach a minimum viable scale to be not only profitable but defensible. We need to be able to stick up for ourselves and not to let these groups bully us around.
Yeah, for sure.
We would love to do our own on-site abattoir eventually.
Yeah.
We're doing all of it. So, we're doing a lot of our own breeding, our own finishing, our butchering. We've got our own restaurant where we sell the meat, but having the facility to slaughter for ourselves is definitely something that we would love to do for a myriad of reasons, but even just for the security. When I started with the butchery, we had 5 abattoirs that were servicing us, and now we're down to 2 because they're just not interested in doing the custom work anymore. When I send off a body of beef to get slaughtered, I get charged a couple $100 to kill it, and deliver it back to the shop for us to butcher. But that abattoir would much rather buy its own cow from the sale yards and use that time on the chain to slaughter it, and then they sell the animal to the butchers and they make a lot more money.
Right.
So instead of the work they do for us isn't as profitable for them. Yes, son. Oh, good job. Little herdsman.
Do I have time to ask another question, or do you have to?
Sure, no, they're okay.
Okay, so
The more she gets, it looks a little bit cruel, but the more they're suckling, the more comfortable she gets, because they're actually, when you've got a real cracked hand or something, it's very fragile, but if you can moisturize it, make it soft, it feels better straight away. Well, their mouths are wet, and so they're actually helping quite a lot. She is uncomfortable though.
okay, so the next question. So I am flying to Tasmania tomorrow.
Cool.
Actually, and I want to work towards a regenerative farm. I want to start my own farm in Tasmania or somewhere, and we're going to have half an acre. We're going to start with chickens. We're going to probably squeeze in 2 goats.
Great.
Yeah, for milk. And my question to you is, as you've done it before, as you've essentially, as I am essentially you in the past,
Sure.
right? Like how many years before? What is your advice for me?
Well, there's a couple of different ways that enterprises work, but if you're small land and less startup capital, which younger people generally have,
Yeah.
you have to lean into a higher labour enterprise. So to start beef farming, you need quite a bit of space, and then you need quite a bit of money to buy the cows in the first place because they're expensive items, etc., etc. But if you're on small acreage and you don't have as much capital, something like a vegetable garden is a great way to get cash flow quite quick, and you don't need to cough up heaps of money up front. You can do it on a small footprint, but it's very labour intensive.
Yeah.
I would rather look after 100 cows and calves than 10 metres of carrot garden beds. It's less work.
Okay.
Year round, it'd be. I say it all the time. I'd rather raise calves than carrots because it's less time. But that's the offset, right? So you've got lower capital, lower space requirements, but a higher labour input. So my advice would be not to be scared of the higher labour input because all you've got is your time.
Yeah.
The chickens are great for that too. So they're small space, smaller equity to get in, $20 a chook and you're in the game. But it's a bit more time to collect your eggs every day and grade them and stamp them and sell them. Or your meat birds. We did meat birds for 3 years. We decided to take the year off, but it's the same thing. Small footprint, smaller cash flow to get started, but more labour.
All right. So where can we find your produce? Where can we find your social media accounts?
Sure. Well, we're everywhere under Wolki Farm. So Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, on Twitter, now X, we are just Jake Wolki. So I've separated myself a little bit because I get a bit loose on Twitter. And our website is where people can order our meat and get it shipped out from. Like I said, we're servicing 10,000 suburbs. So just wolkifarm.com.au and we ship that out. And otherwise, if people are local to the Albury region, we've got our butchery in town, which is open 24/7 with no staff. It's a completely automated self-service store. So we've got about 400 members. People come in and buy their meat through the checkout system and off they go.
Tell me, how does it work?
So when we purchased our butchery in 2020, we bought an old butchery building, been a butchery for 75 years, but it had been closed down and all the equipment had been sold. So we purchased the building, we did a bit of renovations, bought all the equipment in, put some staff on, and we started custom processing, and we didn't have a storefront. I wasn't interested in a storefront. That year was our first year properly farming. The first year, 2019, we were just growing a few things for ourselves, but 2020, we thought, let's have a go, and we were set to do about 400 grand turnover for the year. We're on track to do that, but everything I was growing, I was already selling. I didn't have any surplus stock, so I thought there's no point having a shop front if I've got nothing to sell. And then I kept getting nagged for it, and I thought, well, I could probably scratch up a bit of extra stock, but I can't afford a full-time salary of somebody sitting out the front selling my meat every day. If I'm only going to do, Theodore, gentle please, if I'm only going to do 400 grand turnover, I can't afford to pay someone $60,000 a year to sit in the butchery and scan meat out to people, not including the fact that it was already all selling without them. But I kept getting asked by customers. Customers couldn't understand that we'd bought a butchery, but we didn't have a butchery. Where can we come to get the meat? So I thought the only way it's going to work is if I don't have that labour overhead. So we set it up as basically a modern farm gate. Customers become a member by doing a farm tour. Theo, stop it. Customers sign up to a free membership by doing a farm tour, and then there's a PIN code on the front door, so they get a unique PIN, and they let themselves in, 4991, whatever it is, enter, and the door pops open, and in they go. We've got about 10,000 litres of freezer space. Everything's glass door, Cryovac frozen, and they use an app on their phone to scan all the meat they want. There's some security cameras in there, and then through the app, they pay through their credit card, and they check themselves out.
That's
So
awesome.
that does, last year it was doing about $6,000-7,000 turnover a week. This year it's dropped a little bit because we've launched our website. And the website has volume discounts. So instead of going to the butchery and buying snags for $25 a kilo, you could buy a 20 kilo box on our website and get them for $20. So I've asked you not to, so you lose it now. Yes? Yes, Dad? Put that in your movie.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's really cool. I've never heard anyone do that before.
It's been working well. It was featured on Landline on the ABC 2 weeks ago. Not in my store, but I helped a couple, Karen and Kale, up in Townsville. They opened one virtually identical concept of mine, all the same technology and equipment. And Landline did a feature on them. Thanks, buddy. And there's another family that I'm helping down in Tasmania at the moment, Launceston, that are looking at getting one going. I've got a meeting with them soon to help them through that. You know, the other thing is I set up my front of store with all my freezers and my security cameras and my pin code system and everything for under $40,000, which sounds like a fair bit of money, but I've got a full store set up with no staff overhead for 40 grand.
That's
like
terrific.
it's an absolute no-brainer. There's just that, you know, wages across Australia are set to go up 3.5% on awards. Start of July, start of the new financial year. You know, that's going to cost me $60,000 a year across my businesses. You know, makes it, wages are a massive overhead. So I copped a lot of flack when I first put the concept up because people thought I was killing jobs. I said, well, just to start with, it'd never support a job anyway. That's why I'm not doing it. But secondly, every dollar that we have, we want to send out onto the farm. Like we're passionate about farm stewardship. And to raise things organically and regeneratively without residing on the sides, the pesticide, herbicide, homicide, suicide, all the Latin kill zones, to stay away from them, there's a cost. It's labour. So we take that money that we save in the butchery and we hire farmhands and go and steward the environment. So.
Wow. That's inspiring.
Yeah,
really. Well, I think I'm going to wrap up now. Thank you
Sure.
so much for this interview, for your advice, for telling me all about your farm shop.
Pleasure.
I have a lot in my mind now, and I just have to sign off to the people on YouTube.
Bye, YouTube.
Hello guys, thank you for watching. Please remember to like, share and subscribe, and next time you see me I'll be in Tasmania, probably hoping to hatch some chickens, who knows. So see you next time.